Oh, hello there. I'm Bilchan.
I'm Nimiko.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chapter 5, Section 5 of the picture of Dorian Gray.
Ass.
Oh.
The picture of Dorian Gray. Oscar Wilde. Chapter 5, Section 5. Forward. She shrank from him. Then she laughed and put her hand on his arm. He was merely a boy. At the Marble Arch they hailed an omnibus, which left them close to their shabby home in the Euston Road. It was after 5 o'clock, and Sybil had to lie down for a couple of hours before acting. Jim insisted that she should do so. He said that he would sooner part with her when their mother was not present. She would be sure to make a scene, and he detested scenes of every kind. In Sybil's own room they parted. There was jealousy in the lad's heart, and a fierce murderous hatred of the stranger who, as it seemed to him, had come between them. Yet, when her arms were flung round his neck, and her fingers strayed through his hair, he softened and kissed her with real affection. There were tears in his eyes as he went downstairs. His mother was waiting for him below. She grumbled at his unpunctuality. As he entered, he made no answer, but sat down to his meagre meal. The flies buzzed round the table and crawled over the stained cloth, through the rumble of omnibuses, and the clatter of street cabs. He could hear the droning voice devouring each minute that was left to him. After some time, he eased away his plate and put his head in his hands. He felt that he had a right to know. It should have told him before. If it was as he suspected, then with fear, his mother watched him. Words dropped mechanically from her lips. A tattered lace handkerchief twitched in her fingers. When the clock struck 6, he got up and went to the door. Then he turned back and looked at her. Their eyes met. And as he saw Wilde appeal for mercy, it enraged him. "Although, I have something to ask you," he said. Her eyes wandered vaguely about the room. She made no answer. "Tell me the truth. I have a right to know." She heaved a deep sigh. It was a sigh of relief. The terrible moment. The moment that night and day, for weeks and months, she had dreaded, had come at last. And yes, she felt no terror. Indeed, in some measure it was a disappointment to her. The vulgar directness of the question called for a direct answer. The situation had not been gradually led up to. It was crude. It reminded her of a bad rehearsal. "No," she answered, wondering at the harsh simplicity of life. "My father was a scoundrel then," cried the lad, clenching his fists. She shook her head. "I knew he was not free. We loved each other very much. If he had lived, he would have made provision for us. Don't speak against him. Why, son, he was your father, and a gentleman. Indeed." An oath broke from his lips. "I don't care for myself," he exclaimed. But don't let Sybil. It is a gentleman, isn't it? Who is in love with her? Or says he is. Highly connected. For a moment, a hideous sense of humiliation came over the woman. Her head drooped. She wiped her eyes with shaking hands. Sybil has a mother, she murmured. The lad was touched. He went towards her, and stooping down, he kissed her. I am sorry if I have pained you by asking about my father, he said. But I could not help it. I must go now. Goodbye. Don't forget that you will have only one child now to look after. And believe me that if this man wrongs my sister, I will find out who he is, track him down, and kill him like a dog. They exaggerated fully of the threat, the passionate gesture that accompanied it. The man melodramatic words made life seem more vivid to her. She was familiar with the atmosphere. She breathed more freely. And for the first time for many months, she really admired her son. She would have liked to have continued the scene on the same emotional scale. But he cut her short. Trunks had to be carried down and mufflers looked for. The lodging house just strolled in and out. There was the bargaining with the cabman. The moment was lost in vulgar details. It was with a renewed feeling of disappointment that she waved the tattered lace handkerchief from the window as her son drove away. She was conscious that a great opportunity had been wasted. She consoled herself by telling Sybil how desolate she felt her life would be, and that she had only one child to look after. She remembered the phrase. It had pleased her. Of the threat she said nothing. It was vividly and dramatically expressed. She felt that they would all laugh at it someday. To be continued.